we're back, you can kind of see the paint starting to set up and dry. Remember, we put the salmon on and we let that dry overnight so that it will be nice and hard, because if you try to do this all in one day with the salmon and then the green on top, what's going to happen is all the colors will mix together. So what we have is we have a bucket of water, and I have a damp rag here, that's just damp. I mean, there's really not any moisture left in here anymore. I mean, so you can't even really wring any water out of it, so it's just damp. So now what we're going to do is, this door is the very bottom door. There's already some natural wear that's occurring on this door, down here. You can see that, those spots, and that's where this is close to the ground, of our cabinet, and where it would have actually naturally gotten some wear. And in here on this panel, create some wear in here, and we're just kind of gently rubbing this, and getting some of that off of there, some of that moss green, and pulling that out and trying to see where the actual wear is, might have occurred, down here, on the side of this is kind of rounded over here originally, and then probably up here, since this is the bottom door, you typically see a big wear spot from people just kind of pushing the door shut by hand, up there, maybe a little bit of wear across the top of this, and something, somebody was polishing this panel up, they're going to get a little bit of wear in there on that panel as they cleaned it, and just a little bit through the paint here and there. So this isn't like a really crud type wear down, to really make a, where there's nothing left of the paint. I mean, you might do this on a tabletop if you wanted a really, wash down, effect. But for this, that's probably pretty good. Now, another thing we're going to do here, this is where our original hardware is. And this is original hardware for the piece. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop this on here just like that and hold it over the holes. That's where the holes are. And typically when people will put their hand on here, they're going to touch these surfaces around here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of wear around this hardware, to look like that hardware has always kind of been there, which it has. I mean, from the 1930s till now, this is the original hardware. So what we're going to do is just create that little wearing effect. As if somebody had rubbed their hands around there, trying to clean it. And this is just real gently. There might be, some other tools you could find to do this, but, just something like that. And there we go. So, now that particular, piece is ready to dry. But what we're going to, and then once that's dry, it'll flash back to this color. So right now we're going to forward advance to another door, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. Here's a finished door. I've already done all the wear on. Actually, it's spinning around this way. You can see this. Up here, this is where the hardware was. That's where I wore through on the door. And we're going to introduce a new product here. And this is probably one of the easiest finishing products I've ever used. This is our Low Sheen Burnishing Paste. And basically it's an acrylic paste, really no odor at all. And what you do with this, very simple, you're going to do the same thing that you did with the other. I like to use, again, the inexpensive, natural bristle brushes. You're going to push that all in here, because we brushed this. Milk paint's pretty porous, so we're going to push that into the paint, real quick. What's so nice about this acrylic paste is you just really can't mess up with it. I mean, you can't really apply too much. If you apply too little and miss a spot, you can come right back and touch it up later at any time, and it doesn't leave any halo or rings or anything like that. It creates a resistant finish so you can wipe down the milk paint. This dries to a really, really low sheen. It does darken the color a little bit, so it doesn't quite have that chalky look, but then it makes it more washable. much more washable. And again, I'm going through doing the same thing. And I'm going through here, hitting my interiors first of the panels, the molding, working it into that molding real good. And coming around here on the flats of the panels first, and the end grain. And this is, got good pressure, spreading this stuff out real well. You could apply it with on a wall surface. You could do it with a rag. You could do it with a damp sponge. For this, since I've done all this with the brush, this is exactly, the tool that I've been using throughout the whole process. Of course, I've gone through 3 or 4 of these cheap brushes throughout the process, but find this stuff pretty liberal and then get to the point where it just, doesn't want to really spread that much further. And just working it into the paint. And I let the first coat dry overnight before I came in and finished it with the sealer here. You could probably do it all in one day as far as putting your top coat of moss green on. You let that dry for a couple hours and then come back. You can use the acrylic burnishing paste right on top of that moss green as soon as it's set up. And you can see it's already kind of drying in a lot of spots in here already. And I just keep working that with the brush. If I see some heavy spots, like in the corners, I'll just try to pick them up and move them around a little bit. I don't get real too concerned about the hairs with this stuff. They'll just come right out of here later. When the finish is dry, you can work them. They just kind of flick right off the surface. And you can see some of this is even almost dry already, and I'm just working it in. And that's the great thing about it. Is it's just, gosh, this is probably the easiest finishing, especially on large surfaces, that you can find. Just works really well. And the whole cover that we did, all that you saw earlier in the video, was completely unfinished with this already. So, and this is just basically the last step. You can see how easy that was. Coming through. Again, this is our Low Sheen Burnishing Paste. But hopefully by the time the video is done, this will be available on the internet. Right from the Real Milk Paint Company. And if we flip this door over, I'll just show you the back side right away, and that's already been done with the paste. And you can see, right there, you can see the final dry product. Really, really low sheen, and I did this, the back side exactly the way I did the front. So you can see, really nice color, not too shiny, not too built up, not too heavy looking, and just a nice, finish. I'm just going to touch up right there where I stuck my fingerprints, and let that dry. And I think we're all set. What we'll do is we'll give you a shot of this once it's installed, in our house, and you'll be able to see the completely finished product. Thanks so much for viewing. We've got our new products on realmilkpaint.com, and thanks for watching this on YouTube.